When the HOA showed up at my door demanding I tear down my dock, they had no idea they were messing with the wrong person, because what they didn't know was that I secretly owned every single waterway in the entire county. And when I finally told them, let's just say their boat party ended a lot sooner than they expected. For years, I dreamed of owning a peaceful lakefront cabin where I could escape the noise of the city and just breathe. When I finally got the keys to my little slice of heaven, complete with a quaint dock stretching into the shimmering water, I thought I had all. But little did I know, trouble was already brewing just beyond the shoreline. The local homeowners association, a group known for overstepping boundaries and stirring up drama, suddenly showed up uninvited, demanding I dismantle my dock immediately. They claimed it violated their strict rules, but what they didn't realize was that beneath that dock, I held a secret power, one that would turn the tables on them completely. What happens when the small, quiet homeowner holds the legal keys to control every waterway they thought they owned? When the HOA first showed up at my door, their leader Curtis swaggered in like he owned the place. He was dressed like he belonged at a country club, complete with those annoying mirrored sunglasses and a clipboard full of rules. His tone was sharp and demanding. You need to take down your dock immediately. It's a violation of HOA regulations, and we have full authority over the shoreline. I smiled politely and told him, I'm not part of your HOA. That's when his smirk turned to a sneer, and he slammed down a weathered map showing boundaries that included my property. But I knew better. I'd spent weeks studying my deed, and in a dusty legal clause buried deep inside was the truth. I held exclusive riparian rights, meaning I controlled not just my dock, but every waterway connected to it in this entire county. Curtis and his crew had no idea what they were dealing with, and I was in no rush to let them find out. Instead, I let them threaten fines and send official letters, pretending to be intimidated, all while quietly preparing my defense. The question was, how far would they push before I finally revealed the secret that could bring their whole operation to a halt? Days passed, and the HOA's pressure only grew. Letters arrived in the mail demanding I remove my dock immediately, threatening daily fines that could bankrupt me if I ignored them. They sent inspectors who paced my shoreline, taking photos and whispering among themselves like vultures circling their prey. Meanwhile, I stayed calm, knowing I held the legal upper hand. Behind the scenes, I hired a sharp lawyer who studied my deed with a grin, the kind that said, this is about to get interesting. Then came the weekend when the HOA threw their lavish boat party, a celebration of their exclusive lake privileges. That's when I decided to make my move. I showed up uninvited, standing tall beside my dock with my lawyer and the county sheriff in tow. As the music played and guests laughed, I calmly had my lawyer read aloud the centuries-old clause that granted me sole control over the waterways, a clause Curtis and his cronies had completely ignored. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Smug smiles vanished as faces turned pale. Curtis tried to protest, but the sheriff silenced him with a pointed reminder that trespassing without my permission could have serious consequences. Suddenly, the party wasn't so festive anymore. I gave them a simple choice: pay me for access, or remove every boat from my water by sundown. The stunned silence was broken only by murmurs as the realization sunk in. This was no longer their lake. The next few days felt like watching a slow-motion collapse. The HOA scrambled to contact their members, trying to explain why their precious boat's slips were suddenly off-limits. Rumors spread like wildfire. Neighbors whispered about the mysterious homeowner who had outsmarted the powerful HOA with legal muscle they never expected. Meanwhile, I began negotiating rental agreements, turning their lost privileges into a steady income stream. What had started as an intimidation campaign against me had flipped completely, the tables turned, and now I controlled every boat, kayak, and fishing permit in the county. Even neighboring communities reached out, eager to rent access to my waterways. Meanwhile, Curtis tried to save face, but couldn't hide his resentment when he passed me on the shoreline. I'd never been one for petty revenge, but seeing his glare as I sipped coffee on my dock was satisfaction enough. They'd underestimated the quiet homeowner with a hidden ace in her hand. Sometimes power isn't about fighting. It's about knowing your rights and standing firm. And in Lakeview County, the waters belonged to me all along. By the end of that summer, the HOA had completely stopped trying to intimidate me. Their letters dried up, their inspections ceased, and their monthly boat parties became a thing of the past unless they were willing to pay my fees, which, to my quiet amusement, many of them eventually did. My dock remained exactly where it was, but it wasn't just a dock anymore. It had become a symbol. Neighbors began stopping by to thank me for standing up to the HOA, some even sharing their own horror stories about unfair rules and bullying tactics. A local reporter got wind of the situation, and soon an article ran with the headline, "Homeowner holds legal control over county's waterways. HOA backs down." The attention only boosted my leverage, but I never used it to be cruel. I simply made sure no one could be pushed around the way they tried to push me. Curtis still avoids me whenever we cross paths, though I sometimes catch him glancing at the water like it's a treasure he lost forever. And maybe that's the best part, knowing that my little piece of paradise will always be mine, untouched and untouchable, because I didn't just own a dock. I owned the whole game they thought they controlled.